You will always be second best at trying to be someone that you're not. All right, goodbye. See you guys next time. That's the whole episode. Just kidding, but that is the point of today's whole episode, is not showing up the way everyone else tells you to, the way that's worked for anyone else, the way that ChatGPT tells you to, the way that one coach on Instagram says is the number one way to blah, blah, blah. No, we don't want to do what everyone else is saying works. We don't have to do what everyone else said works, because I know damn well there's probably not an Instagram carousel out there that says the number one way to create an effective podcast is to start it with saying goodbye. That's not out there, but guess what? That was just me being silly, me being creative, me being authentic, and it probably created a little bit of confusion and intrigue, and you're probably still here listening, and you're like, oh, okay, Kate, and maybe you think it's stupid, but either way, you're like, well, she's being herself. I gotta give her that, right? Like, we don't want to do what's already been done. We don't want to do what everyone else is doing, what everyone else tells us we should do, because how are we supposed to be the best at doing what's been done 1,000,001 times? You know what you can always be the best at? Is being yourself. No one will ever beat you at that. No one can ever beat you at that. No one can ever be better at being you than you, okay? So if the whole point of this podcast episode was don't be basic, don't do what everyone else is doing, I obviously couldn't start my podcast in a basic way by just saying, hi, welcome back to this episode of this exclusive series. But now that I proved that it wasn't basic, I'm going to be basic for a second, and I'm going to say, hi, welcome back to my exclusive series, Going Viral is an Inside Job, the podcast and YouTube series. It's talking all about how to go viral, not through a content strategy, but through identity work, through becoming the version of you who just naturally goes viral. And hi, if you're new here, or if you just don't know who I am, I'm Kate. I'm a manifestation and subconscious coach for entrepreneurs and a motivational speaker, which is where the keynote to this series came in. But anyway, I'm happy to have you here, and let's unpack the whole lesson that this episode is about, right? Not being basic, not trying to be someone that we're not, and that the best strategy is to just be ourselves, because literally that puts us in a lane of one. That puts us in a competition of one, because no one can be better at being you than you. Basically, we're embracing our inner rebel. We are not doing what everyone else tells us to do. I don't know about you guys, but when someone tells me to do something, I love not doing it. I love doing the opposite of it. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe in some situations it's not, but it's gotten me here. It's gotten us here together right now to unpack some values. So it's clearly working for something. But before we get into the juicy stuff today, before we get into all the value, what makes you valuable, which is just you being you, I want to bring up a story that I think a lot of us can resonate with. That's just presenting a very important reminder for all of us when it comes to our content journey, when it comes to creating our personal brand or a brand, our marketing, whatever, just who we are, the way we present ourselves, the way we present what we do. This is important. So when I first started my business as a life coach, yeah, that was my focus, right? Was coaching, was getting one-on-one clients. But I always knew I was going to be an author. I always felt like I could do more. I wanted to be a speaker. Like, I always knew that this was going to take me in more directions than just one-on-one coaching. But obviously when I started my business, I wanted to scale. I wanted to, hit my goals, hit my financial goals, get new clients like as quickly, as easily as I could. So I hired a business mentor, naturally, speed up the process a little bit, like take my money any day if you can help me get where I want to go. So I signed up for this business mentorship, and like anything, it's very much like, here's the strategy. If you apply this, you can get this result. And so it was very much like, make content this way, use these hooks, only create these forms of content, talk about these types of things, use these, like, speak to pain points, do this, do that. And I was so locked in on, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. This person has achieved my goal, my one goal. Let me emphasize, my one goal that I'm focused on right now. They've achieved my goal. So like, I have to do everything they're saying so that I can get this outcome. And as I went through that and finished that, eventually I had to make myself aware and kind of untrain myself in a lot of ways and remind myself, I signed up for this program, which was teaching me one way to accomplish one goal. And so while I was kind of accepting and taking like everything they were saying as like gold, as like, oh my gosh, yes, like they have a goal that I want. So like, I'm obviously gonna believe everything they're saying, right? Like, this is the proof that like I can get where I want to go, blah, blah, blah. But when my content started feeling like it was boxing me in, like I couldn't, talk about certain things I wanted to talk about, or I couldn't, post the way I wanted to post, or it felt very salesy or inauthentic, and I was just like, well, it's just part of the game. Like, I just have to like become salesy, or I just have to like learn to be okay with posting like this and my feed looking like, and blah, blah, blah. And I came to the realization they were teaching me one way to do one thing. And like I said earlier, my goal is not just to scale my coaching business. My goal is to change lives. My goal is to, become an author, to create a brand for myself, to become, a name in this industry, to become a motivational speaker, to do all these other things that didn't fall under what they were teaching me. And yes, what they taught me, it works for that one goal. But even that one goal, like hitting a certain income per month from one-on-one coaching, there's still 15, 20, hundreds of different, thousands of different ways to get that goal. You could go to any business coach, and I'm sure a lot of them, it teaches the same things to get there, but there's probably different nuances, different ways to do it throughout all of them. Obviously, there's always going to be more than one way to achieve one goal. But what I had to remind myself was, I'm a multifaceted person. I have more goals than just this. And sure, could this strategy, doing this, get me this one goal? Yes. But does this person who's teaching me how to achieve this one goal, do they have a published book? Do they want to be a motivational speaker? Do they want to, not work this much or have this much free? Like, do our lives look exactly the same? Do our goals look exactly the same? Is what they're teaching me all encompassing to all these goals I have? No. And so I started to kind of unlearn and retrain myself that my content can go outside these lines. What I do, the strategies I do, what I talk about can be more than just what I was taught here, because this was one way to achieve one goal. And I had to remind myself over and over and over again that just because what I'm doing strays outside the lines of this, or it looks a little different, or it's not what they taught me, or it's not what they'd recommend, my goals are different. So it's okay for me to do different things. And so with this story, there are 3 very important takeaways that I want to leave you with here. And these are all going to lead into the biggest point takeaway of this episode. But number 1, there are always going to be multiple ways to do one thing. There are always going to be multiple channels that can get you to the same goal, that can get you the same outcome. So know that, when someone says, oh, this is the best way to do this, or this is like the way I've seen work, this is what's gotten me this result. Yeah, that's true for them, but that doesn't mean that there's not a different way to do it. That doesn't mean that there's not a better way to do it. That doesn't mean that that's only ever going to be the only way to do it. There are always going to be multiple ways to do something. So reminding yourself that, just because someone says this way is how I got this, doesn't mean they're God. That's the only way that this works. This is the only way you can achieve what you want to achieve. Do not let anyone sell you on this is the only way to do that. If someone's saying this is the only way you can get this, you need me to get that, bye. No. Yes, it probably works. Yes, it probably does help you achieve that goal. But anyone who thinks that there's only one way to do something, immediately no. Number 2, reminding yourself that even if someone is massively successful at one thing, even if someone is really good at seeing this result, or they have this really good strategy that's proven this result 1,000,000 times, they might not have the other same goals as you. They might know how to get you from point A to point B with this one goal, but maybe you also have all these other big goals over here. Maybe you want to be an author. Maybe you want to be a speaker. Maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to be an artist and do fashion and do all these other things. Maybe you want to create a personal brand along with your business and not just, I'm selling one thing, I'm capitalizing on this pain point and blah, blah, blah. Know that just because that one way or that one person is really successful with this one thing, it's still okay for the rest of what you do to look different because maybe you want something, other goals different than that. Maybe you want to create your coaching business, but you also want to have a personal brand and be an influencer and do deals and all these other things on the side. Therefore, your feed's going to look different. Your marketing's going to look different. What you post is going to look different, and that is okay. Moral of this point being, it's okay to take what you want from people who have proven successful in certain areas. Take what you want from that strategy that you like, that works for you. Take what you want, leave what you don't. And just know that there are always going to be other options outside of that that also work, that are also effective. Number 3, the reason any of these things work is because of our belief in them. The reason that any of the strategies that we hire someone to teach us, the reason any of the strategies that we take from this carousel we saw on Instagram of, the top 3 ways to do XYZ is these, and use this. The reason that anything of that nature works in the first place is because we believe it will work. When someone is saying, oh, I guarantee you'll get this result, at the end of the day, this is our reality. Our belief in whatever we want in our reality is what will be true for us. So if we believe that this Instagram carousel is going to get us the biggest bang for our buck, the biggest results, the biggest views, whatever, if that's what we truly, fully believe, then guess what? That is going to work for us. If we invest in a program or a coach or whatever, and we think, oh my gosh, this is so going to get me the results I want, our belief in something, our belief in ourselves, our belief in our ability to get the results is what makes that strategy work at the end of the day. Yes, it's proven over and over and over again to work. There's social proof around it, but that also, think about the placebo effect. Obviously, these things do work. There is strategic logic behind it, but for it to work for you and your reality, at the end of the day, it comes down to your belief in it. So the reason any of these things work at the end of the day is because of your belief in them. If you see, oh, these are the top 3 hooks to go viral, and you fully believe those will work, that's all it takes, that will work in your reality. But if you're like, I think this is just someone posting something else on Instagram that they want clickbait for or whatever, if that's your belief, then it's not going to work for you. At the end of the day, your belief in something is what makes it work. The biggest takeaway here, point number 4, the biggest takeaway that culminates all of these things together is that you are the authority of your reality. You are the one who knows what's best for you to get where you want to go, to achieve the goals that you have, who knows intuitively what you are meant for. And so just because there's someone out there who's maybe ahead of you on your journey, who's maybe has better, quote unquote, better results than you right now, who maybe is making more money than you right now, do not give away your personal authority because of someone else's results, right? Again, you don't know what their overall goals are. You don't know how that might differ from what you want in store for yourself, from what you know you are meant for. And so, yeah, that might be a quick way to make money right now, but if you see yourself as a legend, if you see yourself as building a legacy, if you see yourself as doing things differently, but it's going to create this long-term, beautiful, legendary success, trust that. Take what you need, use everything outside you as a resource, as a tool, take what you need to get there, but know that at the end of the day, you are the authority of your reality, and you know best what you need and what you are capable of and what's necessary to make it happen. Everything outside of you, anyone who's saying, this is how you can get from here to here, these are the best hooks for this is the best way to do this, those are all tools. They are not truths. They are not, this is the only way to get here. It is a tool that's available to you at your own discernment to use as a resource to help you get where you want to go. So you pick and choose, you take from where you need to take from, you invest in what you need to invest in to get where you want to go. But know at the end of the day, your goals, your journey, that's probably going to look different from other people. And so if you don't do what everyone else is copy and pasting, what everyone else is telling you to do, what's necessary to go from A to B, that's okay. You don't have to. Basically what I'm saying is you have permission to not do things the traditional route. You have permission, not that you need it. This isn't even permission. This is a reminder that you already have permission, that you don't need permission to do things differently, to want something more, to not listen to people who say you have to do this to get that. I promise you, the vision you have for yourself in your heart, as long as you keep going, you will make it happen. You won't fail. No matter what you do, no matter how you do it, You will not fail. And when you listen to that intuition, trust me, like what we talked about in the first episode, when you give yourself a task and you listen for the answer, you listen to your intuition, you trust your creativity, that will take you further in the long run. Maybe one of these strategies, maybe one of these things will work for like that immediate ROI, because your brain's like, again, our belief in it is what makes it work. It's like, okay, this is going to get me this right now. But I promise you, trusting your intuition, that creativity, trusting yourself to be different, to express your authenticity, that's going to take you further in the long run. And so basically my whole point here, again, my whole point is, yes, use these things around you as tools to get you where you want to go, but knowing that in the long run, learning to trust yourself, your authenticity, your creativity is the ultimate strategy. And yeah, sometimes trusting your authenticity, yourself, your creativity means pulling from other resources, pulling from these other investments that you can make, but at the end of the day, still knowing that those are tools that you've intuitively chose to tap into, that you've intuitively chose to follow these frameworks today. And that what's allowed those to work is still you, your belief in yourself, the results you get, your creativity, your intuition, your authenticity. That is the ultimate strategy. That's what's making any of these other things work, is your trust in yourself, that you are the authority of your reality. So use these tools, use these resources, but the biggest point is to remember that these are just tools that you are choosing to use. You are giving these tools the power because you believe in them, because you're applying them, because you intuitively chose to use them right now, to pull them into your reality as a tool right now to help you get where you want to go. But at the end of the day, what's making the magic happen is you. You build this trust with yourself. You give yourself the credit for knowing who to listen to, what tools to use, what resources to tap into. That is you. That is your credit. That is you being the authority of your reality. And so you just need to remember that you are the one with the power. You are the one who knows most what you need to get where you want to go. Your goals look completely different. The life path that you have looks completely different than anyone else who's out there teaching one way to do one thing. And that means that it is okay for you to want to do things differently, for you to express things differently, for you to apply different things, different strategies. That's what I'm saying. You can start your podcast. You can start your podcast with goodbye if you want to, just because that's what your intuition told you to do, just because you want to be different, just because you want to be a rebel and be like, you know what, screw you, I'm doing it this way instead, and it's going to work. And even if it doesn't work, people are going to be so intrigued and so interested and so confused that they're going to have to keep following along to understand what's going on here. And when you remember that you are the authority of your reality, when you remember that you are multifaceted, that you have all these goals that you want to achieve, and you remember that it's you who gets to choose what tools to tap into, you allow yourself to fully embrace being you. The way you want to do things, the creativity you want to express these things in, the tools you want to use, the way you want to use them. And when you allow yourself to do things in your own way, in a way that fully aligns with you and who you are and what your long-term goals are, what your multifaceted journey is going to look like, no one can beat you at being you. There's always going to be competition in doing one thing the same way. Like if everyone's doing the same thing, all the time, if everyone's copy and pasting these things that they think is going to work because someone told them it will, well, yeah, now you have competition. Now, you might feel like I'm not good enough. This isn't working for me. But I'm telling you, no one can beat you at being you. And that is your superpower, is being you. And that's what we're going to get into a lot more throughout this series, is your value and how you fully embrace that and how you fully bring that out of you to achieve these goals. But the first thing that I want to do, the first episode, we're here, we want to learn about how to become the person who goes viral. We wrote down what our content goals were, what our goals were for our content, for our social media, for our pages, whatever. Content alone. But now I want to ask you, beyond content, what do you want? What are your goals? What is your long-term vision for yourself? That maybe having a large following or making money from social media or doing whatever with social media will help, right? If you want to write a book, having a following, that's going to help you get a good book deal, or having the case studies from the clients you'll get from social media, like that's going to contribute to your book deal or get you opportunities to speak or do whatever. Sure, social media is still a part of it. It might still help, but beyond social media, beyond the business you're building right now or what your goals are right now for social media, what do you want? What are these other big goals that maybe you don't know how they're going to unfold yet? Maybe you don't know how they're going to come to fruition yet, what you're meant to do with them yet, but you know you want them. What are those other things that you know you want in your life, that you know you are like, okay, yeah, I've always felt drawn to singing or fashion or art or whatever it is. I want you to take out your journal and write down these other big goals that you have for yourself, these other goals that might seem unrelated to social media or might seem unrelated to your business right now or your goals right now, but just things that are in the back of your mind that you're like, yeah, you know, I'm working on this right now, but at one point I'd love to be in a position where I could do this. What are those other things? Is it travel? Is it art? Is it fashion? Is it singing? Is it writing? What are those other things? I want you to take a moment, think about it, reflect on it, and just let yourself, like, it doesn't have to make sense. You don't need to know how, you don't need to know why, but think about it and write those down. And then stay tuned for episode 3 dropping tomorrow, where we are going to talk all about how to pull this authenticity, this you being you, out and portray it in content that's going to make you magnetic in everywhere, every place you're showing up, so that you can really expand into this version of you that's able to achieve these big goals with ease, that's able to surpass your goals right now so that you can create and see all of these things coming to fruition for you.